Dr. Kishen Rawat is a senior radiologist at Sir Gangaram Hospital. I think it is a pleasure to have you here, sir. And over to you.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction, Dr. Aparna. On is quality assurance in radio diagnosis. So radiology is a crucial at all major levels of healthcare, and it is an integral part of healthcare services. Radiology helps in detection, diagnosis, monitoring, and follow-up of particular disease. And radiology also helps in preventing the disease by various screening methods. So in 1999, Institute of Medicine published a book, To Err is Human, Building a Safer Health, which estimated that nearly 1 lakh lives yearly are lost to the medical errors in USA. So this was a very alarming report. So primum non nons here. So first, do not harm. So as a healthcare provider, my first aim should be do not harm. This is essence of our professional oath. Radiology was not immediately recognized as a potential direct cause of patient harm, but review of medical literature presented many reports, and they identified suboptimal radiology processes of care, set some principles for the improvement of healthcare system. So these principles are known as STEEP principles. So S for safety, T for timely, E for effectiveness, E for efficient, E for equitable. So there is no discrimination of the healthcare among the patients. And last is the patient-centered. Just culture for quality and safety. Just culture recognizes that even competent professionals can make mistakes, but it does not tolerate disregard for risk to the patient or misconduct. So just culture encourages the workers or staff of the department do not hide their errors or mistakes. And it also minimizes the fear among the participants of the punishment. So this is a culture of safety and quality, which encourages proactively in the participation of identifying and improving the processes that may cause harm to the patient. So when we are imaging a patient, we should follow a 5 rights principle. So what are these 5 rights? Number 1 is right study. So there should be a right study or right imaging for a particular disease or condition. If there are multiple studies or imaging, then they should be done in a right order. Third is the right way. So any study we are doing, we should do it in a right way and with the standard protocol. And then we should generate a right report and communicate to the treating physician so that he can take a right action for the patient. So when patient enters in a healthcare system, so he first interacts with the physician who examines the patient, and after the examining patient, he orders the test according to the appropriateness criteria. Then he accesses the radiology department and schedules his imaging time. After that, there is a protocol selection, examination performed, interpretation of images done, and then the finalization of the report, which at last then communicated to the referring physician. So what are these appropriateness criteria? During the 1990, ACR recognized the need to define some guidelines for appropriate use of imaging technologies. These guidelines are known as ACR appropriateness criteria. So these guidelines were introduced in 1993 into the healthcare system. These criteria are evidence-based guidelines to assist the referring physicians and the radiologists in making the most appropriate imaging or treatment decision for a specific clinical condition. So by employing these guidelines, providers enhance the quality of care and contribute to the most efficacious use of radiology. These guidelines are developed and reviewed annually by expert panels in diagnostic imaging and international radiology. So each panel includes leaders in radiology and other specialties. So every radiology department has a quality assurance committee. So who should be the member of this quality assurance committee? These members should be a medical physicist, radiologist, biomedical engineer, medical imaging technologist, and IT technician. So these are some terms. We are aware of these terms, which are very frequently used when we are talking about the quality and safety programs. So I will briefly go through these terms. Quality control, it represents the most basic form of quality related activities. So its main objective is to ensure that a system or service fulfills the established quality requirements or standards. So this is a process for monitoring and improving the technical performance. And it is thus a reactive process to compare the performance against the certain standards. Quality assurance, it is a comprehensive process used to monitor and evaluate the quality and appropriateness of the patient care and also the performance of all the practitioners in any healthcare systems. So this is a proactive process to prevent defects or inadequacies that may harm the patient. So what are the components of quality assurance? Responsibilities, which are distributed among the members of the committee, purchase specifications, standard for image quality, monitoring and maintenance program, installation, operational performance, qualification of equipment, records of all the data, quality assurance manual, and training. Continuous quality improvement, it is a proactive activity which is aimed at improving the processes which happen in the department to enhance the quality and care of services. So it mainly focuses on the processes which happen in the department. Continuous quality performance improvement. So this is a concept of improving output, efficiency, effectiveness through implementing change on the basis of measurement and analysis of collected data. It focuses more on human performance. Quality management. This is an overall umbrella for all quality concepts, which includes all the activities that organizations use to direct, control, and coordinate the quality. So quality management can include quality policies, objectives, processes to achieve these quality objectives through the quality planning, quality control, and quality improvement. So there are some quality management principles. So these are 7 principles which we should follow when we are dealing with the quality management. So first most important is the customer focus. So we should give the priority to the customer. Then second is the leadership. So we should have a strong leadership with a clear mission and clear-cut vision. Engagement of the people. So we should engage all the stakeholders in the healthcare system. Process approach. So in our department for functioning, there should be a process approach for any procedure. Then improvement. So everybody should put their all efforts for continuous improvement in the department. And whatever decision we take, it should be on evidence-based. And last is the relationship management among all these stakeholders. So any radiology department should have a quality manual which has these 5 features. Number 1 is leadership and strategy. So this leadership has a strategy, they have a mission and a clear-cut vision. Second, resources. Resources may be human resources, imaging equipments, financial resources. Third is the radiation safety. So every department should have rules and manuals for the radiation safety. Quality. So there are some quality committee, quality assurance and quality control programs and documentation of these programs. And last is the clinical guidelines. So there should be some clear-cut guidelines for the preparation and the procedures in the department. So when we talk about the quality and safety in radiology department, there are 4 main areas to be focused. So these areas are safety, process improvement, professional outcomes, and satisfaction. So we have to improve these areas. So how do we measure the improvement? How we can say that we have achieved the improvement or we are improving the department? So there should be some measurable parameters, because if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. So any quality system should have clearly defined performance indicators. These are known as key performance indicators. These indicators permit organization to monitor performance, determine the areas that need improvement, and define the goals of the organization. These KPI are used to determine a mission, demonstrate the employee productivity, monitor and document the patient safety, and demonstrate the compliance with regulatory requirements. So we have to identify the relevant KPIs that can demonstrate the improvement in the department. And the best way to create the most valuable set of KPIs is to derive them from the strategic planning process. So PDA cycle is that kind of instrument which can help in defining and identifying these key performance indicators. So in this cycle, we create a hypothesis or solution, which is then tested on a small scale before the changes are applied to the whole system. So what is this PDSA cycle? P for plan, D for do, S for study, A for act. So first we propose an idea and predict what will happen if we use this idea. Then we implement this idea and collect the data. And in third step, we analyze this data and compare the results with our predictions and capture the learning and then act. So later we decide whether to adopt or abandon this idea. So what are the KPIs for safety? So these are some KPIs for the safety: infection rate, medication error rates, patient falls with harm, contrast-induced nephropathy, critical test reporting, specimen labeling, procedural errors, hand hygiene, radiation MR safety, wrong side imaging. Like a physician asked for the right foot imaging, we have done the left foot. So these all should be recorded. Wrong image labeling. So all these errors and all these parameters we have to record and keep a record of all these errors and processes in the department. So what are the key performance indicators for the process improvement? Appropriateness. So study should be appropriate for a particular condition. Access time. So imaging should be easily accessible. Waiting time. Standardized protocol. Every department uses a standard protocol for a particular study. And the finalization time of reports, that is a turnaround time. So this is a time from patient entering to the department of the radiology and getting the final report. Key performance indicators for professional outcomes are peer review. So imaging is sent for the other institution for peer review, and they send their reviews regarding this imaging. So we compare with these reviews with our original reports. Structured reporting. So every report should be structured and should use standard lexicon so that clinician understand your language, what you want to convey. Chart review of reports compared with the reference standards. So we have to compare our reports with the final diagnosis or the histopath report. Then procedural outcomes, complication rate, success rate, radiation dose, and procedural time. KPI for customer satisfaction. So we have to identify a specific customer group, then develop a way to listen to their needs or requirement, and then develop a survey based on these requirements. So then we can do the improvement which our patient is asking, or whatever improvement they require in the department. So there are 5 dimensions of service quality or customer satisfaction. First is reliability. So the ability to provide the service that was promised, and it should be done in an accurately way. Assurance, the knowledge and courtesy of employees and their ability to inspire trust and confidence among patients and their adults. And the physical appearance of a department and the department equipment and also the staff of the department. So it should be it should look like it should look presentable. Empathy. So as we know, when the patient comes to the hospital, some of these patients are very distressed and they are emotionally very down. So we have to be very caring, and we have to be very attentive to these patients. Responsiveness, the willingness and ability to help customers promptly. So medical imaging has evolved manifold since the discovery of X-ray. So in early years, the use of X-ray was slideshows, photography, and some medical applications. Then imaging evolved further. So physicians also got familiar with these images or imaging. And so they started referring patients for these images or imaging. Then came the contrast agents, which helped in enhancing the image quality and also in detection of the diseases. And the new modalities later on started adding on the spectrum. So CT, ultrasound, mammography, MRI, they started adding on. Then after the 1990, there was a technology explosion. So modalities started evolving, new dimensions and new technologies were getting added to these modalities. Then PACS arrived, which helped the radiologist to access the images from remote or rural areas. And even PACS also helped physicians. They had access to the images and they can also get some knowledge of imaging. Then came the teleradiology. Teleradiology also helped in improving the quality of reporting, because through teleradiology, even the rural and remote areas got access, and those areas through teleradiology improved their reporting quality. Knowledge base also got enhanced, and the consultant and referring physician interactions also got better. And same time, there was unprecedented demand of the imaging. After 2030, Imaging 3, which focused on the high value care of the patient. So it was beyond the interpretation of the images. So how can we achieve the high value care for the patient? So we can achieve high value care by assuring appropriateness, documenting quality and patient safety, actionable reporting and evidence-based follow-up and recommendations, empowering the patients, and value-based imaging. So we can reduce the costing of the imaging and make it more cost-effective. And last is patient-centered. So medical imaging has evolved from Imaging 1, that was image acquisition. Imaging 2.0 was improved image acquisition and digital image management. Imaging 3 was the future of the imaging. So in Imaging 3, integrating of the imaging into the healthcare delivery. So future of imaging is Imaging 3.0, where the imaging will be value-based. It will be more consultative, patient-centered, and outcome-focused. And it will be an integral part of a healthcare service. And radiologist will no longer be invisible. He will be more accountable now. So coming to the conclusion, the ultimate goal is a cultural shift in which all departmental workers assume responsibility for quality and safety improvements and behave consistently with the core values of the organization. So there is a transition of healthcare to high quality, value-based and patient-centered care for the betterment of our healthcare system. And radiology can assume a leadership role in patient care through imaging appropriateness, accessibility, acceptability, effectiveness, efficiency, and safety, which is the most important aspect of the imaging. So quality is not an act, it is a habit. Thank you.
Dr. Kishen, thank you very much.